Right now, if you search up the best investments on Google, in a matter of seconds, you get back about 5.5 billion results that all talk about the exact same thing: money. Nearly half of the American population invests in the stock market, and about 1 in 10 people in cryptocurrency. With those numbers quickly increasing following the rise of new projects like NFTs, it seems clear that these financial avenues truly are the best investment decisions to make. Now, love it or hate it, nobody will argue that money isn't important. In fact, unfortunately, it's necessary for survival in our current society. But I think that every single one of those 5.5 billion search results are wrong. The answer to the question isn't money at all. The best investment that you can possibly make is investing in yourself. I don't know much about investments, which you probably think is a little funny because this video is talking about investments. So like you, as I've been getting older, I am making more money. It's really important to me to invest in something that's gonna benefit me long term and there's gonna be growth to it. So that's brought me to this little bit of a dilemma because I'm not sure what choice to make that's really best for me. I don't wanna, waste my time and miss out on an opportunity, but I also don't wanna just act and make the wrong decision because there's all these outside pressures. I've decided to make some different choices and invest in myself. Now, when you first hear that, it's probably not the type of investment that you were hoping to hear about when you saw the title of this video, but all of these things actually fit into the definition of what an investment is. An investment is an asset or item acquired with the goal of generating income or an increase in the value of an asset over time. When an individual purchases a good as an investment, the intent is not to consume the good, but rather to use it in the future to create wealth. First up is my well-being. So to me, this looks like where and how I share my time and energy. Investing in my health or in my well-being is something that is obviously going to make me feel good right now, but it's really going to pay off in the future when I'm not laying in bed sick and I'm able to go hike a mountain. And that really boils down to making choices right now every day that impacts those things in the future. Going to bed early or trying to prioritize that, trying to eat better, trying to exercise, trying to just clear my mind and meditate and keep all of that healthy. Of course, these are things that a lot of people do and they're healthy habits, but when you start to think about it this way, it becomes a little more of a conscious choice. You're making an effort to maybe steer clear of other decisions. Maybe you don't go out to that party, or you're not gonna go out for ice cream or make cookies. And those things are a choice to invest in your well-being at the moment, which will eventually pay off long term. Right now, for me, that looks like practicing meditation, trying to focus on my sleep, having a good morning routine, and one of my favorites, going for a walk. Now, this is one of the best ways recently that I've found that I can invest in myself. It's simple, it's easy, and especially as it gets nicer outside, it becomes a little more simple to just get outside, go for a little walk around the block, and it's contributing to my mental health, my physical health, and all those aspects of my life. Now, the second kind of category that I've put my self-investments into is creative and career exploration. Now, this looks a little different than the traditional kind of stock market investing where you're buying something with the intent of not using it right away, and you want to put your money into something that isn't going to depreciate as soon as you purchase it. So for me, that's looked like buying a couple new pieces of equipment. Now, you may be thinking, of course, Harrison, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? That's not an investment. That's going to depreciate over time, and as soon as you purchase that camera, either you're going to sell it for less or it's going to be the same amount of money. You're not going to gain anything from it. And yes, I guess technically from a financial standpoint, these were poor financial decisions, but I'm looking at it from a perspective of how these tools that I've purchased are going to help me get to the next step in my creative exploration and my career exploration and the success that will come from that. The idea for the topic of this video actually started a little while ago when I was trying to decide if I should purchase this camera or not, because I had some extra money and I was like, should I be putting this in the stock market or should I purchase a piece of gear that's gonna give me incentive to create stuff and say, well, I've purchased this with the intent of making videos, so I'm gonna make sure I hold myself to my word and do it, and also just giving me the ability to explore a new piece of gear and try different things that I maybe couldn't do before and kind of inspire myself to make something out of this product that I've purchased. So really, I think that this whole investment thing just comes down to what works for you and how are you gonna utilize the thing you're either purchasing or putting your time or money into. How do you see that giving you some sort of return return in the future. Losing money by spending it on something doesn't mean that it was a waste of money. It just means that it's going to have a different return in the future than something like stocks. Now, when you start to think a different way or act a different way or make different decisions that maybe are a little more unique, it will probably cause some heads to turn. A lot of times when you're doing something a little differently, you'll feel the need to justify your actions because others may not understand it. But I want to remind you that it is completely okay if nobody else understands what you're doing, because after all, you are the only one living your life and you get to make the decision that's right for you. You don't need to justify your actions if you've thought them through and you have an intent behind what you're doing or the decision that you're going to make. And if somebody else just can't wrap their head around it, but you've put in the time to think about it and really, weigh the pros and cons and sort out if it's best for you, then there's no need for you to justify it. Now, having said all that, I want to do something that feels right for me, and that is take a little bit of this video and show you some of my most recent investments, tell you why I made those choices, how they're benefiting me, and we'll have a little fun. So I love gear, I love new technology, I love trying new products. So I was very excited when I bought a new camera a couple months ago. I bought the Sony a6600 and it works wonderfully. It's amazing. I feel like I just have unlocked a whole set of new creative powers. And then this week I decided to pull the trigger on a DJI Mavic Mini 2 drone. I am no expert, I've just started trying to figure out how to use this thing, but I want to give you a little taste of what is to come because I'm very excited. So what really is the right investment for you? I think one of the best places to start is investing in yourself because it's an easy thing to do, it can be a cheap thing to do, and it can have a dramatic payoff in the long term without really too much effort. Now personally, I haven't made this choice completely by myself. I'm relying largely on what other people have done in the past, other creators that I look up to, artists that have invested in themselves a long time ago and are now seeing great payoffs. Things take time. And I think once you realize that and come to terms with it, you can feel at peace with the fact that this investment will take a long time. Making choices right now to maybe go to bed early is not a bad thing. Just because you missed out on that party doesn't mean that it was a bad choice. It means that it may be the right choice, but you won't know that for a long time. And the fun part about choosing to invest in yourself is that you get to kind of wait it out and see what happens in the future. But just knowing that in the future this is going to turn into something is a pretty exciting thing, and it keeps me motivated, and I think it'll probably help you as well. Now, don't get me wrong, after all of this, I'm not trying to say that stocks are a bad idea. In fact, it's a very good idea, but it doesn't mean that it's the best idea for everyone all the time. So just remember to keep your mind open and stay on the lookout for new ideas, because the best investment might just be the one that nobody's talking about.